Welcome to this week's Weekly Lift. I am your host, Latoya Logan, and I am beyond excited to be back, especially for the month of September. September is National Recovery Month, and this is an opportunity for us to celebrate the resiliency of individuals just like you and me who have endured mental health crisis or trauma or just instability and have relied on our resources, our hope, our personal goals for ourselves to overcome and continue to heal on our journey from those things. This is also an opportunity for us to highlight the importance of suicide prevention. So today is Monday, September 11th. This is the second day of National Suicide Prevention Week. And SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, which is our federal oversight for behavioral health services for the entire nation, has a campaign, Be the One To. And it's really amazing because I think when we think about suicide, when we talk about it, it's heavily stigmatized, and so many people believe that it's just this impulsive action that is has no consideration for outcomes, and we sometimes don't even know what to do if we have a loved one or a friend who is struggling. So be the one to ask to see what's happening. How can you be of service? Be the one to provide support and encouragement. And that might just be, I'm listening, I hear you. Be the one to help them remove lethal objects that might cause harm to themselves. Be the one to be present, because sometimes your presence is enough. And finally, be the one to follow up and help them connect to resources. This does not mean that you are taking on someone else's wellness as your own responsibility. Instead, this is an opportunity for you to do what you're already doing for people, showing them that you care, that you love them, that they matter, and that you will go the distance with them as they are learning what to do to best support their own wellness. So this is really great for us to start this next weekly Lift Wellness series. And we're going to focus the next 8 weeks on the 8 dimensions of wellness. So there's a lot of debate about how many dimensions of wellness there are, and I'm not going to get into that debate, but I'm going to use what is kind of a standard, or I would say consistent 8 dimensions categories. The first is emotional. We're going to look at occupational, intellectual, environmental, financial, social, and social, physical, and of course, spiritual. So for the next 8 weeks, each week is going to focus on a particular area of wellness. Now, what's not included in here, or I think might get grouped sometimes with physical wellness, is sexual health. So for the purposes of this series, we're going to focus differently. We're going to look at emotional wellness. We're going to look at mental wellness, physical wellness, spiritual wellness, environmental wellness, social wellness, intellectual wellness, and finally, sexual wellness. So we're going to leave the financial and occupational wellness to vocational providers who can offer more support in that area than I can. What we're going to do in the next 8 weeks is really try to center your perspective, your understanding around how to prioritize your wellness needs. So first and foremost, we're going to define what wellness is. In each of those areas, we're going to look at some best practices for strengthening your wellness in that area. And then, of course, I'm a believer of homework. We could talk for forever, and I tell my clients this all the time. You come see me for 45 minutes to an hour once a week or every other week. That isn't sufficient to build a wellness practice. That isn't sufficient to begin your healing journey. And it certainly isn't sufficient to actually be in a state where you are recovering in those various areas. So this is going to serve as these conversations, these talks, this information as a way of giving you a foundation, somewhere to start from. And then hopefully you will walk away with saying, okay, I think I know some things I might want to do to promote my wellness in these different areas. But before we can do that, I want to make sure we're on the same page about mental health. So we're looking at wellness. And of course, wellness isn't just about mental health, but every aspect of wellness directly impacts our mental health. And that then impacts the way that we function in the world. Oftentimes, we are stuck in a very monolithic view of what mental health is, and certainly why we would seek behavioral health. So I want to first say mental health is something that everyone should be prioritizing, because we all have a brain. We all have been educated on certain things that have created a knowledge bank for us that has then developed into attitudes and beliefs. We all have been exposed to things, some very healthy things, some unhealthy things, that has definitely impacted our beliefs and our perceptions about ourselves and the world. And we have all experienced things that have directly determined how we interact, how we engage with individuals, our willingness to trust people, and how we are able to connect with others, with ourselves, and then with the world around us. So mental health isn't just about, are you experiencing a disorder? Mental health is truly about, are you understanding how the education, exposure, and experiences you have had directly influence your knowledge, your beliefs, your attitudes, your perceptions, that then impacts how you engage in the world. So it's all connected, which is why we're going to focus on this in the next 8 weeks, wellness across a couple of categories, because it isn't enough for us to say, how do I reduce a feeling of depression? I have clients who come in often and they say things like, I really don't want to feel depressed anymore. But then when we talk about their life and what they're dealing with, depression is really the most appropriate emotional state to be in at the time. They're struggling in different areas. They don't have the support they need. Maybe they've just lost someone or something of great importance to them. So it would make really good sense that at that time, they would be experiencing some level of uneasiness, depression, anxiety, etc. So it's important for us to understand that having healthy mental health or mental wellness does not mean that you are not going to experience depression, anxiety, or any other discomfort or maybe distressing emotions. What it means is that when you are in a state of mental wellness, that when you experience those complicated or distressing emotions, that you have the coping skills to manage it, that you are able to de-escalate the situation in the moment so that you can recover without crisis, and that you are able to problem solve in a way that would be healthier instead of relying on unhealthy practices to create comfort or to help you manage that distressful situation. We, as human beings, having this human experience, we're going to have to learn how to deal with suffering and joy. We're going to have to learn how to deal with setbacks and significant progress. And in each of those, there's going to be distressing emotions. When you're achieving something, yes, it's great, but that doesn't mean that does not also come with significant anxiety, fear of failure, fear of letting other people down, fear that this may be as good as it gets. So even with very positive or pleasant experiences, there can be complicated and distressing emotions that follow that as well. So for the purposes of looking at wellness, I'm going to give you a task. Please don't call emotions good or bad. Don't call them negative or positive. What we really want to focus on is what is the impairment that it is causing to you on a social level. And social meaning What is the impairment is causing to you? How are you treating yourself? How are you responding to yourself based on those emotions? How are you then engaging with others or not engaging with others as a result of those emotions? And what kinds of goals are you setting for yourself or denying yourself as a result of those emotions? Because that's really what mental health is all about. We will all experience a full range of emotions, and we should. And we should. That's living a full life. But we have to learn how to experience those emotions and not allow them to settle into a perspective that gets internalized, where we feel less than, where we believe everything is going to fall apart, where we believe we are not good enough. So on this journey for the next 8 weeks, we're going to really focus on some tangible goals to support your wellness in each of those categories. And I'm going to ask you every single day to think of something that you can do. One thing. You only have to do one thing. Just one thing to promote your wellness in that day. And some days you're going to be really great at taking care of your emotional wellness, and your physical wellness may get put on the back burner. We are not looking for perfection because that's not realistic. We know there's no such thing as balance. We cannot give 100% in every category of wellness. When we are doing what is best for ourselves, and we're engaging in a practice that serves us, what that means is we have the power of discernment. We know that, on a Monday, if we're getting up and we have a lot of work that has to be done, and you're going to be stretched thin because you have to work 14 hours, that we have to prioritize. So we may not be able to engage in our physical health if you're working out, and maybe your diet isn't the best because you're on the run, but maybe even though you're not focusing on your physical health, maybe you're doing a really great job emotionally of staying grounded and managing that stress and reducing it, so that as you're running through the day, you're not overwhelming yourself and stopping. So again, we're going to really go into each of these categories of wellness to help understand why balance is not necessary, perfection is not achievable, but learning how to prioritize what wellness needs to be prioritized in the moment is going to lead to an overall healthier wellness practice that will lead to just sustainable change and sustainable benefits for years to come. I am going to go on this journey with you. One of the things I know that I've been really struggling with is my physical and emotional wellness, because I've been so busy pouring so much into my businesses, into the people that depend on me, into my advocacy. And so my goals for the next 8 weeks is to prioritize my physical and emotional wellness. So one of the things I did today to make sure that I am doing that, I am being true to my word, I went to the gym. I had a really great workout. I was able to sit in the hot tub for a little bit. I've already got one of these down. I'm going to finish another one and try to work on getting another 16 ounces in. I've eaten very well today, and I'm committed to making sure that I do that. So think about what you might be able to do today. You don't need to go buy anything. You don't need an extra hour. These wellness practices can be as simple as a 5-minute intentional meditation, 5-minute intentional moment of gratitude, 5 minutes of exercise, if that's something that you want to do. I want you, though, to think less about hitting some mark and being intentional about feeling better every single day. So I thank you for joining me today. Please share. Please leave a comment. I would love to hear what you have to say. If you have questions, I would definitely respond to those. And of course, subscribe. And I will see you September 18th to kick off our wellness. We are going to start with emotional wellness for September 18th. Have a wonderful rest of your day.